Hi everyone, this lesson is on developing reading skills, part 4. Course learning outcome to demonstrate awareness of values and opinions embedded in text on current issues. Reading is exploring a wonderful world of knowledge. So as students, you need to improve in your reading skills because it is very important for you to polish up on the skills that would enable you to complete your assignments better, and also in when you're working it will enable you to communicate with other people better because reading is the key to knowledge. In this lesson you will be able to identify the cause, effects, and values from a text. Reading for specific information involves understanding what information or what kind of information you're looking for, locating it, and then reading the relevant parts carefully to get a full and detailed understanding. Sometimes reading for specific information also involves reading to see if information is contained in the text. The causes and effects in reading text allow students to understand the relationship between a cause that results in an effect. So when you are looking for information that's related to causes and effect, you will notice that they are linking words that used by the writer to reflect or to show the cause and effect. So here are a list of the words: if, or then, the reason why, as a result, therefore, because, consequently, since, due to, thus, this has led to. So when you are reading for information on the cause and effect, you need to be able to highlight the linking words for you to identify the relationship that is given by the writer. Let's look at what is cause and what is effect. Cause is why something happens. It happens first, but it's not always in the text. And it will answer the question, why did this happen? Whereas effect is what happened, and it happens last, but it's not always in the text also. It will answer the question, what happened? Here is an example of a reading text which contains cause and effect. Let's read together. The Industrial Revolution began in Great Britain during the middle of the 18th century. It was a period of great change. Prior to the Industrial Revolution, goods were produced in small workshops or homes. Most people in Britain lived outside of the cities and towns, working as farmers or craftspeople. During this period, there was an introduction of more machinery to farms. Because of this, farms began to produce a greater amount of food and other crops. The increased use of machines on farms also meant that fewer people were needed for farming jobs. Due to an increase in the amount of food and other resources, the population started to rise in the late 18th century. This resulted in an increase in the demand for goods such as textile and clothing. New machines in other industries were also invented, allowing more goods to be produced more quickly than ever before. Factories were needed in which to operate these machines. Workers who crafted such goods by hand could not produce goods quickly enough. It was impossible for them to compete against the factories who could produce goods much quicker and more cheaply. Many people were left without jobs. Consequently, many people left the countryside and moved to towns and cities in search of work in one of the many new factories that had been built. The population of these cities grew extremely quickly. You can identify the cause and effect in this reading text by looking at the linking words. For example, in paragraph 2, there was an introduction of more machinery to farms. Because of this, farms began to produce a greater amount of food and other crops. The increased use of machines on farms also meant that fewer people were needed for farming. In this paragraph, the cause is introduction of more machinery to farm. The linking words because of this and the effect, farms began to produce a greater amount of food and other crops, and fewer people were needed for farming jobs. In the second paragraph, the word due to shows the relationship of cause and effect. Due to an increase in the amount of food and other resources, the population started to rise in the late 18th century. This resulted in an increase in the demand for goods such as textile and clothing. Another linking word is identify, which is this resulted in. So the cause is an increase in the amount of food and other resources. And the effect, the population started to rise and there is an increase in the demand for goods such as textile and clothing. Now, what are values? Values are the principles that help you to decide what is wrong and what is right and how to act in various situations. So in reading text, there are a lot of values that you can identify. After identifying the information you need, it's helpful to determine which part of the text it is in. Headings can help with this, as can reading for gist. The main reading skill employed is scanning. This involves moving very quickly over the text and you are ignoring unknown vocabulary and focusing on the keywords, phrases, and ideas. Scanning should enable you to find the specific information, then read that part more carefully to get a full understanding. So reading for gist can be helpful in number 1, locating a specific word or phrase. Number 2, working out unknown vocabulary. And number 3, finding the general location of an idea. So you can follow these steps to depict values from text. Firstly, read the paragraphs or passage given carefully. Number 2, try to understand the passage and you may even need to read the text more than once. Number 3, identify the cause, effect, and values from the text. You can also highlight the words, for example, the linking words that shows the relationship of the cause and effect, and also underline the values identified in the paragraphs. And number 4, you should reflect on the values that is around you. That's all for today. Thank you for watching the video. Stay tuned for the next video.